This may be one of the most unusual gold crimes in the last decade, and it went for quite a while. You might say that this gold crime is long in the tooth. I'll explain why as we explore. People find the most clever ways to steal gold. I have a whole playlist in my channel called Precious Metal Crimes. A lot of it does involve gold. I prefer to get my gold the old-fashioned way and buy it. I don't mind it. It's easier. You got to work hard to earn the money in order to make that happen. So in that way, it is not very easy, but it is the honest way. And if I can get the best deal for gold I can, Summit Metals is where I like to shop, because they have been the price leader oftentimes for gold products. So check out summitmetals.com. So in this story, I'm going to be reporting about a very unusual event that occurred by a student from a dental school. That's right. This is according to Fox 59. $158,000 in gold was stolen by IU dental school employee. Actually, he was an employee, not a student. He was an Indiana University dental school employee, allegedly ordered and stole over $150,000 in gold dental equipment before selling it to an Avon Cash for Gold store. You know, you've seen this cash for gold stores pop up everywhere, and of course now with gold trading a near record high, it makes sense because, people are in need and have been selling a lot of gold. With the prices extra high and inflation still with us, the value of this thing has lost tremendously over the past 4 years. And inflation is still with us, even though it's scaled back a little bit. It could just as easily tick up again, but that is if the Federal Reserve keeps printing money, and they don't have much reason to do it now because I think they're trying to rein in spending, although with this new CR, there is some question about that, and that's a continuing resolution for those of you who don't know. It was just passed by the House and will likely pass the Senate if all goes well. We'll see what that sets us up for, but inflation is something that is very difficult to deal with. And that could have been the impetus for this employee to steal the gold. So this story is quite fascinating. Michael Fraser, who is 33 years old, was arrested and charged in Marion County Court, Indiana, with felony fraud and theft. Employed as a purchasing agent, Fraser was in charge of ordering dental supplies for the IU School of Dentistry. As a purchasing agent, I really don't see how he could get away with this, but, it is interesting because it's Indiana University. Is that a public university? Indiana University police were alerted in early March about an audit that revealed a fraudulent ordering scheme within the school. But that is something that just now was coming to light. And there's a bigger issue here at hand with regards to this with Indiana. I don't know Indiana University, if it's a public school, state-run school, or sounds like it probably is, rather than a private school, which means they probably get a lot of federal money too. And there you go, folks. That gives you a hint. How much accountability is there? How much and for how long can we get away with this? This is one of the reasons why the Department of Education has cut almost half of its workforce for things like this that have happened and go unchecked, whether it be by selfish means or by throwing the bars off the Titanic as the EPA has found money. Lee Zeldin has found money there. It has been earmarked, and essentially, as a sinking Titanic, you throw the gold bars over. Nonetheless, Indiana University police were alerted in early March about an audit that revealed the fraudulent ordering scheme within the school. Documents allege that the scheme involved Fraser, who had reportedly ordered gold alloy dental products at least 34 times since 2020. Wow. And you think about it, if you divide 158,000 by 34, that's a lot of money each time it was done. No question about that. This should have been flagged a lot sooner than that. Wow. The gold is believed to have been stolen by the employee resulting in a financial loss to the school of specifically $158,967.57. Now, I don't know what spot price is involved in that, or if they're using the purchase price, but likely, probably, given that it was 34 times since 2020, the gold was worth a whole lot more than that. Police said Fraser's 34 orders were not properly tracked in IU accounting books, and that over 2,700 grams worth of gold products were never logged into the school's inventory system. These orders, which ranged from $1,100 to $16,000, were all reportedly picked up in person by Fraser or delivered to his desk. Detectives tracked an order made by Fraser on the 5th of March and followed it to his office on March 7th. After being confronted about his unlogged gold purchases, Fraser reportedly asked to speak in private, quote unquote, and tried to shut the office door. You know, you've heard that old saying, shut the front door. Well, that office door was probably in the front, and he wanted it shut, that's for sure. Wow, crazy. They were able to finally track it. You know, the thing is, usually some of these criminals, when they see they get away with something, well, they begin to do it again, and they take more increased risk until sooner or later they are caught. The act is so brazen, and they end up getting caught in the end. Yes, indeed. So it's crazy what's going on there. Now, the story continues. After this, police said Fraser admitted to ordering gold and taking it for his own personal use. Now, there's a lot in between this that it doesn't tell us. When he tried to shut the front door, did they actually hold the door open and then walk in there and say, hey, we know what happened, we caught you red-handed? Or what was shutting the front door, his office door, what was that going to do? Fraser reportedly told officers he would wait for the gold to be delivered, then drive to a gold buying store in Avon and sell the dental supplies for cash. Well, you would think that that specific store would have been suspicious. I know that several local coin shops in my area, whenever you sell gold, you are required to give your name and address and show a photo ID, and your information. You're required to do that before selling gold. So that my thing is, you would think it would raise red flags. Of course, if they did do that, and they saw that this happened several times, and they see that it was dental gold, and asked where the guy worked, well, you would think that the gold buying store would have alerted authorities. But that didn't happen, apparently. At this point, officers read Fraser his Miranda rights and arrested him for fraud and theft. He was later taken to the Marion County Jail, where he is being held on just a $20,000 cash bond. Detectives later spoke with employees at the Avon gold buying business Fraser mentioned. After being shown a picture of Fraser, one employee immediately recognized him as a frequent gold seller. Exactly. The employee said Fraser was always really nice, of course, and never gave any indication that the gold he brought in was stolen. Well, again, you put two and two together, then you've got something that you can bite on. Yeah. You all, I'm sure, will come up with a lot more of those puns, those dental puns. But I'm going to tell you a little story about dental gold at my local coin shop here in a moment. Stay tuned for that. Now, the employee said he was really nice, never gave any indication that the gold was stolen. An initial hearing in Fraser's case was held just recently in Marion Superior Court 28. A jury trial is now scheduled to begin on the May 22nd in front of Judge James K. Snyder. If convicted on both counts, Fraser could face up to 18 years in prison. Level 4 felony fraud is punishable in Indiana by 2 to 12 years in prison and fines up to $10,000, while Level 5 felony theft is punishable by 1 to 6 years in prison and a fine of $10,000. So there it is. So that's the potential punishment that he could get. Wow, 18 years in prison. I doubt he's going to get that, but nonetheless, we see a lot more of the thievery happening by higher officials, more deeper crimes that get less time than that, but nonetheless, It is interesting. I've actually seen dental gold at my local coin shop, and it's kind of interesting. They're small little squares, not much to them, and of course they've got to be assayed, and usually they're fairly high purity, but they're usually about 90 to 95. I don't know exactly what the carat is, but I think it is a fairly specific carat of gold, if I'm not mistaken, and that means that it must be mixed with copper. And this is an example. This little bag of copper was used in a 1 ounce pure gold bar to assay it, to get it to that particular fineness for dental gold. And so that is quite interesting. This is what this little baggie is. A local coin shop gave that to me because they said they got from a dentist, I think, a gold bar like this where they were able to actually create their own dental gold. I had a way to do it, which is kind of interesting. Most places order it in the little squares that they come in, and I've seen them in that regard too. And I don't think they're marked, but they obviously need to be melted down in order to make the fillings for teeth. So either way, it's going to be melted down. So if you can buy gold cheaply in a 1 ounce variety and then mix it like this with these little copper cube beads here, copper shot essentially is what that is, then you've got yourself the right combination, the right alloy, in order to make it work out for you. So that's how dental gold comes, at least in that regard. But in this case, I would assume that probably it came in those little tiny squares. However, if it did come in 1 ounce bar form and it also came with the copper beads, then more likely there's going to be in an assay card like this, or even not on an assay card, which would make it less suspicious. But I'm leaning more towards the idea that they are the little squares, considering that the purchases came in a range of $1,000 to $16,000. A 1 ounce bar is not going to cost $1,000 even back in 2020. That's for sure. So more than likely they were the little squares. But what a fascinating story. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. I'd like to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals, including precious metals crimes, of which this video will be a part in the playlist. If you enjoy what I do here, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.